Listen, make sure you wake up with TaylaAndre Monday through Friday, 5 to 7 a.m. on Big City 101.3 FM. Wake up with the Radio Rebel. Politics, news, conspiracies. Wake up your third eye with unorthodox conversations leading to universal consciousness. This is the type of stuff I'm into, all right? Make sure you tune in. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. I'm feeling some type of way today. I'm all in my skin today. I'm all in my emotions. Let's go. Waking up with TaylaAndre. How was your weekend? What did you do? How do you feel? The sun's starting to come back out. My melanin's all the way popping. I feel better when the sun's out. I move differently when the sun's out. That's why people in California are so damn happy. When you have all that sun popping your melanin, come on. You just feel some type of way. 311. I think I talk about 311 all the time, but last night was the first time I downloaded the 311 app. And, you know, I'm just here for the comments. So I was here for the comments last night for the 311 app. Download it. It's the number one central spot for snitching. But in all seriousness, so 311, Boston 311 or 311 BOS, you download it from your Play Store or whatever app store you use, and you're able to take a picture of your pothole. You're able to take a picture of, you know, the whole app is like everybody's snitching on somebody's illegal parking. Someone parked too close to a fire hydrant. Someone's parked in front of my house. Someone is parked around the corner, and I'm peeking through my window as I take this picture because they parked the whole app is about snitching. But it is helpful because the app also allows you to, again, the potholes, the trash, whatever issues that you have. So if you don't feel comfortable calling City Hall, if you don't feel comfortable calling 311, just take a picture of whatever issues that you have. It uploads, and then it also gives you a number. And that number also keeps you updated on what's going on. So when I was reading everybody snitching on each other as far as parking is concerned, it would say, you know, sending a tow truck out now, or they're within their rights, or in the footage. They're in the footage of where they should be in regards to a fire hydrant, like stop snitching type stuff. So and it tells you like up-to-date information. This case was open 3 hours ago. This case was open 7 hours ago. This case is currently being worked on. 311, the app, is better than 311. If you can make any type of complaint, you can upload photos, and it's here. Use it, baby. Use it. Take a picture of your city councilor doing something they're not supposed to be doing and send that in. While we're on the topic of mayors, city councilors, the Walsh campaign is paying his new political consultant $16,000 a month. We got on Tito's behind about his $10,000 advertisement that he did for his campaign. Mayor Marty J. Walsh political campaign is paying $16,000 a month for top Democratic strategist Stephanie Cutter and Teddy Goff. And this was confirmed on Thursday. Walsh told the Globe earlier this month that he hired Cutter and Goff, both partners at Precision Strategies, to join his bid to secure a second term this year. Both will help shape the narrative about Walsh administration's accomplishments within its first 3 years. The Precision contract has been finalized at $16,000 a month for services, and that's what it is. That's how much we pay. When you got it like that, I guess you can do it like that. So, shout out to everybody running, because a lot of people don't even have $16,000 in their bank account, let alone paying a political strategist $16,000 a month. I know that I am oh so late, but I started watching Queen Sugar. Queen Sugar is by far one of the most well-developed, well-written, slide in that wisdom, slide in that knowledge while getting all of your entertainment. I love it. The historical value, the truth-telling, the statistics. I love everything about Queen Sugar. Again, I know I'm late. But I don't have time to be watching television like that. So when I do get a moment. But the fact that Pops was buried with his Masonic brothers, good rising, my love. His Masonic brothers buried him. To watch the sister, I wanted to call her Suki because she came from True Blood, Nova. To watch Nova engage in Reiki. To watch her, put in, like the blessing pouch into her daddy's funeral. Like all of that just sneaking in the wisdom, just sneaking in some understanding, some questions, some things that make you go, let me go do my due diligence right quick. I love it. Love the show. The second season is on in June. I binge watched, actually, and so I'm currently caught up to date, and I'm a little mad. I don't like being caught up, because then that means you gotta wait with everybody else, so I'd rather wait till the whole season over than binge watch all of it. That's just my preference. In other news, there's a lot going on in the city. I think I said this last week, as far as the youth are concerned, as far as these babies are concerned, as far as our community is concerned, there is a lot going on. And I want you to be mindful. If you are on Facebook, if you're on Instagram, if you're on Twitter, please use these platforms in a way that most people don't. And that's to inform yourself. Stay informed, stay connected, and connect your neighbors with what's going on. A lot of us don't use our platforms for what they could be used for. And I said that with like a question because we too busy telling all our business on social media. We're too busy cussing people out on social media. Today's topic, I posted something last night about today's topic, and there's two grown men going back and forth with each other. I'm like, are you serious? Post your opinion, leave it there. If people don't agree with you, they're not gonna, no one calls up here and says, Tayla, I dislike. You wanna know why? Because they changed the damn channel. Sometimes in life, you gotta change the channel. Sometimes in life, you gotta change the way you look at things, or the way you perceive things, or the way you have to, hold your ground, or he said this, or she said that. And sometimes no rebuttal is needed. I'm learning, Nana said, I am learning that sometimes when you shut up, when you just close your mouth, sometimes you keeping your mouth closed is saying more than 1,000,000 words. Girl, ladies, we don't understand it. We don't get it. I'm going to tell you now, because the last word sits on our tongue. We be like, we ain't gonna say nothing. And then the Kermit the Frog with the hood come on, and we be like, nah, girl, you better cuss that person all the way out. All the way out. You gotta let them know who you are. You ain't want to be played with. Like, our Kermit the Frog with the hood always come. Like, really? So you just gonna let this slide? We gotta be bigger. We gotta be better. We gotta be bolder. We gotta start using these platforms. You gotta use what you have to get what you want. And we have tools, and we're not using them to get the things that we want. Last night, there were multiple reports of shooting in Dorchester. Multiple. Police have responded to 2 shootings in Dorchester Sunday night. Officials say that 2 people were shot in the area of 22 Thane Street, approximately around 8:30. One victim is suffering from life-threatening injuries. The other was shot in the foot. One of the things, I said this last week, I'm going to say it again. Shout out to Dina Willis, because she also said the same thing online last night about why is it 3 a.m. and the sirens are blaring? Like, there's no respect. There's no respect. I understand there's an emergency, but not everybody need to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning to respond to what you're responding to. How traumatic is that? for parents that are already dealing with whatever we're dealing with as far as our children are concerned. The lack of sleep. When these babies just came off of vacation, they got to go back to school tomorrow. I stayed up pretty late last night. I was up until about 12:30. And the sirens just up and down Blue Hill Ave. Up and down. We still working on that ordinance. Don't think I forgot. 4 cops were injured subduing a man they said that was beating his neighbor. A man began attacking his neighbor at 149 Hemingway Street with a stick around 6:30 and was subdued by police. But according to reports, while they were subduing him, the man was subduing them. So 4 officers got hurt. And he'll probably be in jail for the rest of his life for assaulting an officer when he was just trying to whoop his neighbor's ass real quick. 617-282-0062. We have a call on the line. Good rising, caller, you're live.
Good rising, Taylor. Not just away from the subject. I just wanted that number for the Mr. Edwards you had on here.
Absolutely. So you do know that's my broker, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so Alex E. Edwards' direct number is not in my head right now, but real estate speaking, call me at 617-459-0041, and I can take you through that channel.
Thank you so much.
You're absolutely welcome, baby. So I gave him my direct line, and that's for real estate only. You guys are welcome to use it. The second ever copy of the Declaration of Independence was found hidden in a British archive after it was made for the radical Duke who supported the American Revolution. Harvard academics discovered a second parchment copy of our American Declaration of Independence. The only other parchment copy is at display at the National Archives in D.C. It has been dated back to the 1780s and is not an official government document. Researchers believe it belonged to the Duke of Richmond and was commissioned by James Wilson of Pennsylvania. You know, historic. I love it. I love history, actually. I hated it in school because I always felt like there was something missing and it never connected for me. Those ends never met. When they teach you about, I don't know, it never made sense. It never made sense. On Sunday, when they're like, Adam and Eve was created by God and then their sons went off and married. It's like, hold on, but what about the other people that got married, though? Like, how did they have kids, but we never talked about their kids? Or the people that birthed them, or the people who birthed them, because I thought it was just Adam and Eve. Like, that didn't make sense to me. Then going to school and learning about, like, Christopher Columbus discovered America. Really? Then why in Plymouth, because in school in Plymouth, why did we just learn that the Indians were here before Christopher Columbus? How he discovered something? Like, none of history made sense to me as a child, and I can only imagine how difficult it is for children today to have an understanding of history or lack thereof that they're being taught. But today, as an adult, my favorite subject on earth. North Korea stated that they will not launch a nuclear strike if Donald Trump attacks. And they warned foreign ministries and promise death-defying victory against America imperialist. We will win. North Korea said we're not having this. If Donald Trump takes one step forward, y'all could just go ahead and kiss tomorrow goodbye. They issued a statement on Saturday threatening nuclear war if it's attacked. The foreign ministry spokesman said they would surely win a victory against U.S. It was one of the 3 messages delivered. The other one was towards China and towards Australia. And they come after an embarrassing failed nuclear test by North Korea on April 15th. The satellite photos show that the country may be planning another test this week, and it would come to the celebration of the 85th anniversary of the founding of the Korean People's Army. I need us to be awake. I need us to be aware. I need us to open our eyes. Dow Chemical, you guys know Dow Chemicals. Many of our products are made by Dow as far as like cleaning supplies are concerned. Dow Chemicals gave $1 million to Trump's inauguration and wants to hide studies showing pesticide harm to children's brains. I think the more studies that are done, the less that is being hidden. As far as the autism, you guys remember the article I read last week, autism being linked to some of the pesticides coming out. Like, we're not able to hide things like we used to. We're not. Now, one of the things that I would be really surprised about, because last time I checked, I'm not a fan of Donald Trump, but I do listen to what he says. He stated that he wanted a new government, a government not filled with corruption, even though like his whole team are corrupted. But he wanted a new government not filled with corruptors, right? I hope, these are my hopes, I hope he takes the money and lies, just like he lied to the American people. I hope he takes the money, says, thank you, Dow, love the money, appreciate the money, but American people, did you know that, like, I really want him to start exposing people, like he said he was going to, with the media lies. Well, then tell the truth. Tell the truth. A pesticide maker tries to kill a studies risk. The Dow Chemical is pushing a Trump administration to open the regulations to ignore the findings of federal scientists who point to a family of widely used pesticides as harmful to about 1,800 critical, threatening, or endangered species. So it's not just us, but it's also the animals that we share this earth with. Lawyers representing Dow, whose CEO is a close advisor to Trump and two other manufacturers, sent letters last week to the heads of 3 of Trump's cabinet agencies. The companies asked them to set aside, in quotation marks, the result of government studies and companies contend are fundamentally flawed. Dow Chemical wrote a $1 million check to help underwrite Trump's inaugural festivities, and its chairman and CEO, Andrew Livers, heads a White House manufacturing working group. So, a long story short, everybody is in bed with each other, and as much as I have a hope that he will, take the sheets off and expose it all, the fact that they are so woven together, this is just like the FDA and Monsanto trading hats. The director of Monsanto, who went ahead and ran the FDA for a little while, then went back to Monsanto. So Monsanto is the company who makes Roundup Ready Up. It is the pesticide that is sprayed on most of our produce. And there were some regulations around Monsanto about what they could and could not do. So their director went ahead and went to the FDA, changed some laws, changed some regulations, came back to the table as the head of Monsanto, and was able to push through some new policies because he just went to the FDA and changed regulations. And we wonder why our 9-year-olds look like 14-year-olds. We wonder why our boys sound like girls. Effeminization is real. Chemical injection of our animals is real. You go outside of the country, you taste food, you don't want to come back and eat in America. But are any of us aware of this? I want to give a huge shout out to attorneys. I want to thank every single last attorney for the many hours that you've done reading, for the thousands of books that you've had to crack open. I want to thank you for all of your hard work, all of your dedication, all of your relentlessness, all of your tenacity, all of your mustering up the ability to continue to fight the good fight. So while we are out here always talking about the Rosa Parks and the Martin Luther Kings and those that march, we forget about Thurgood Marshall. And if it was not for him, we would not have the liberties that we so love and appreciate and take for granted, because it was laws that were changed that gave us the ability to the laws. Just like Monsanto director went from Monsanto to the FDA to come back and change some laws. If those laws weren't changed, they wouldn't have been able to move forward with the progression of whatever it is they wanted at Monsanto. And the same for us, and the same for the movements. For the attorneys that fought for LGBTQ rights, for the attorneys that fought for civil rights, for human rights. Talk or call back, baby. I saw you. Give me a call back. At what point in time are we going to use what we have to get what we want? I want to thank every single activist. I saw the greatest meme ever last night. So the activists will tell you come out on a weeknight and you think you finna go to the club, and they got you outside the embassy banging on drums. I was like, hell yeah, that sounds like a date night to me. Shout out to all my activists. Shout out to everybody with their boots on the ground, whether it's moms or dads or grandparents or aunties or neighbors. Shout out to everybody fighting for these babies. Shout out to everybody who is connecting one another with information. The revolution will not be televised, and the revolution has been going on and progressing for years. And shout out to all those that are engaged in the revolution, whatever that may mean to you.
Hello, you've been selected to participate in a short 30-second survey. To say thank you, you'll be able to select one of our exclusive offers.
Have anything to do with you. I'm talking to a group of people that... Hold on 5 seconds, hold on. Takar, did you try and call back? Did I miss you? Neil introduced me about 4 or 5 years ago. Hold on, Wake Up with TaylaAndre will be 4 in October. I was with the Good Life Morning Show for 2 years. So, about 5.5 years ago. Hold on 1 minute, y'all. Hold on 1 minute. Yes, Taco, what's going on?
Oh, what you were just talking about the chemical feminization. Dr. Wesley Muhammad unpacked that whole topic a couple of months back. If you go to NOI.org webcast archives, and he laid out all the evidence, all the facts. You know, when he got to the rostrum, he said, "I'm not here to preach and do a lecture. I'm here to levy an indictment." And he went in. And I mean, everything from the food, the vaccines, the pesticides you talked about, and they're even chemically lacing the recreational drugs like marijuana to flip and invert hormones as well. It's crazy.
Absolutely insane. Thank you for that, Takar. And when you get a moment, could you please post that on the Facebook page so those that are connected will be able to view that, read that, hear that lecture that he gave. And thank you for that information. He's absolutely right. You know, they're not going to just give you marijuana and tell you, here, take it. There's nothing wrong with it. Of course there's something wrong with it. That's why your parents be like, hey, that ain't no regular weed. I just want weed. I don't know what that is. That fire, that diesel. I don't want that. I want that gas. I just want some weed. Y'all ain't got no regular weed. Grown folks be killing me with that. Y'all ain't got no regular weed. It's a completely different strand. Once upon a time, we just made you sleepy, made you hungry, made you laugh. I don't know what's going on with these boys today. Well, it's not just the boys. Let me stop picking on the men. Let me stop picking on sexes, because everybody smoke weed. Men, women, the young, the old, damn children on hemp oil. So let me not just talk about our men. But a couple years ago, Neil introduced me to the headphone crew. We have a large population of those that are currently incarcerated that listen to this station, listen to this show. And unfortunately, as we know, they can barely call their family, let alone call into the show to let us know how they feel or what's going on, or update us on some of the things that we don't know. as far as the prison industrial complex is concerned. Here in Massachusetts, I want to say that we have it kind of easy. I don't take away from anybody who's ever spent time in prison, even jail for that matter. But here in Massachusetts, we do not have private prisons. We do not have for-profit stock market prisons. But elsewhere, that Mason-Dixie line, it's nothing more than a money train. It's nothing more than a laundromat. It's nothing more but a gas station. It's nothing more but bring them on in. It's a cattle call. So this show, I would like to dedicate to those that are currently incarcerated, because how many of our men and women go into the prison system and come out with post-traumatic stress syndrome? How many of those enter into the system and never return home? Not mentally, not emotionally, and sometimes not even physically, because they end up going back and forth so often they can't cope with real life. I remember reading an article about a month and a half ago about a man who was recently released and was, when he was released, they said, "Oh, we are so sorry. DNA has confirmed that you were not the one who did this crime. We're sorry. We're going to give you," I think it was like $47. It was something ridiculously crazy. "We're going to give you this $47 and then go about your way." That baby committed suicide because he couldn't live in the outside world. The prison industrial complex is not to rehabilitate people. And I want to give a huge shout out to Sheriff Tompkins, because I feel like Sheriff Tompkins goes above and beyond for our men and women here in Boston. Above and beyond to find what programs will help them and keep them out of prison, out of jail. Programs that help bring their families together. Programs that help them be parents even behind the wall. We have another call on the line, 617-282-0062. If there's something that you would like to say to somebody who is currently behind bars, 617-282-0062. Words of encouragement. Today is Motivational Monday, and if anybody needs motivation, it's those men and those women that may have trumped up charges on them. Those men and those women that may be 100% innocent. Those men and those women that currently cannot pay bail so they can't get out of jail. Khalif Broder, rest in peace, my love. I still can't believe you're gone. Your story will always live on. But to the men and women that are currently living in hell, and not just here, again, we have it so easy in Boston. I can't tell you how easy we have it here in the state of Massachusetts compared to the men and women that are down south. When the police and the judges and the prosecutors and everybody's working together to fill up those jails, to fill up those prisons, because it's a cash cow. 617-282-0062. What do you have to say to those men and women behind bars? What do you have to say about you being formerly incarcerated, coming back into the real world? What would you say to the men and women listening that just got out, that don't have a job, that can't get a job, that can't keep a job, whose families don't want them around, who because they have Section 8 can't even have a felon living in the house? What would you say if you've already been down that path? I can't speak from experience because this is not a story that I'm familiar with, but there are too many voices out here that are being lost and not being heard. And today I would like to give you the opportunity to have that platform. 617-282-0062, Grand Rising, calling you live.
Is it me?
Oh, hey, Taquan. How are you?
Good, yes. Thank you, Tayla. First, I want to share a story with you. What you were talking about on how people just get their whole lives taken away. There was a man. I was formerly incarcerated at MCI Norfolk, and while I was there, I saw this man, this OG that had been there for such a long time, served his sentence, and his sentence was over. But the world had changed so much since he'd been incarcerated that he couldn't readjust to society. So he asked to rent a room, a cell, at Norfolk.
Hold on. The baby was released and he came back because he couldn't cope with life?
Couldn't cope with life, and he stayed there, living, renting at MCI Norfolk.
Is that a real thing? Can people do that?
Well, this Mr. Ray, he did that. You know, you see him working out in the quad every morning in the jungle stuff, feeding the pigeons. And this man, he couldn't deal with the outside world anymore because he had been incarcerated for so long that he became institutionalized in the head. He couldn't deal with the world. It's crazy.
That's sad.
That's what, prison can do to you. Now, to, the brothers and sisters that are now incarcerated, listen, time is precious, and you can't afford to waste time no matter what situation you're in. So don't accept serving time. You got to make time serve you. When a few years ago I wrote a poem called My Name Is Not Corey that deals with all that. But you've got to use that space and that time as a cocoon of development. You can read undistracted, and everything that you want to master is in a book somewhere. Malcolm X read the dictionary studied the dictionary from A to Z. When I was there, I came into contact with the life-giving teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and I studied it. I spent my time in the law library, in the schoolhouse. They had college extension programs there. I got half of the credits for my undergrad degree right there in the belly for free. So I was either in the schoolhouse, the law library, the mosque, or the gym. In a cocoon of development. And it's funny, everybody there is begging for a move to lower security. And my caseworker would approach me when my eligibility came up, and I would tell her, leave me alone. I don't want to be bothered, right? I'm here locked up. What difference does it make whether I'm locked up in this prison or that prison? It's not my nature to be locked up. And because I wasn't asking for it, she tried to force it on me. Where everybody was begging for it, jumping through hoops. And I told her, and I put it in writing, that look, it's not my nature to be locked up. And I'm not conditioned like that grasshopper that'll only jump so high and don't jump out of the jar when you take the cover off. So if you move me to lower security, I can't promise you that I won't walk away. I'm giving you this in writing. What does it do for your career if you send me anyway? And I walk away.
Tagwa got her, huh? Got her with the okie doke. Tagwa, we got a few other calls. I'm gonna give you 30 seconds to wrap it up.
Just real quick, because I wanted to use the resources that was there at that camp to develop myself. And at the end of the day, they still kicked me out when my eligibility date came up because I wanted to wrap up and not have no parole noose around my neck. So when my eligibility date came up, they just locked me in isolation and told me, call your kid, you go home in the morning, and literally threw me out. I'm probably the first man to get evicted from prison.
Apparently not. You could have rented a room, Tagwa.
I know. But that's what you got to do. When they lose their control tools over you, they think that you're too smart and that intelligence might spread among the population and they lose control. They want you out of there.
Message. I hope y'all heard that. 617-282-0062. Motivational Monday is dedicated to those that are currently incarcerated, those that came out of incarceration, and those that are coping to live in society without being behind those walls, behind those bars. If you have any words of wisdom that you would like to share with those listening, they cannot call in. They cannot, well, I guess they could send a letter, but they cannot call in. They can't give their account of what's going on. They can't share their story. So if you are walking these streets, if you have your freedom and you want to say something to those that are behind that wall, 617-282-0062. Good Rising, Callie, live.
Good morning, Tayla. How are you?
Super fantastic. How are you?
Good. I want to stay at home. I want to think about South Bay. Why did they build that prison at South Bay instead of a university for us? You understand? I can tell you why. Because South Bay is next to Boston Medical Center. So if you got stabbed in Compton off of the Walpole, they got to drive you all the way to Boston Medical Center. But this is where you live at. But now if they build a prison right next door to Boston Medical Center and they cut you up and stab you up, they can walk you across the street. Now they got a supermarket down the street where that everybody shoplifted and everything. And now if they arrest you, they could walk you over to South Bay Jail. Now, why are all those crackheads and drug addicts around that prison system? Because it's convenience. So when they lock them up, they're right there in front of the prison. They don't have to burn up no gas. This saves gas and economics. Did we ever think about that when they were building it? No. We need to be thinking about education. But y'all have a blessed day.
You as well. That's some food for thought, y'all. That's some food for thought. I want everybody's opinions, everybody's thoughts. I'm going to Facebook now to read some of these comments. What I posted was, and I said this earlier for those that are just now tuning in, I'm late to Queen Sugar. And at some point in the show, there was, what's the little boy name? Sugarfoot or something like that. The little boy was completely innocent of a crime that they convicted him of, and he was in limbo. He didn't have a public pretender. He, they were giving up cases. If you got a public pretender, it was like getting a real attorney. Because, and I don't want to take anything away from the public defenders, you guys have an entirely too many caseloads to actually be focused on your clients. So you have to pretend your way through it. So I don't want to take away from the years that you studied, the degree that you, too sweet, thank you, baby. I don't want you to think that I'm taking away from anything that you have done in order to help whomever you've helped thus far. But you got to pretend your way through it. When you can't focus an hour on a case, you got to focus 5 to 10 minutes to hurry up and get to the next one. But Too Sweet was innocent of a crime. He was 17 years old. He was put in general population with adults. And in the show, they were talking, and I love it, laced with knowledge. They were talking about how a 17-year-old can't mentally comprehend with these grown men, these 25-year-olds. It sounds like a small difference, huh? 17 to 25? Absolutely not. There was a question that was sent to me about whether or not I believe that youth under the age of 25 should be tried as a child. Because when you're 25 years old, you're still thinking like a baby. Not everybody, but your brain's not even fully developed at that time. How many men come out of the prison industrial complex with post-traumatic stress disorder? Too Sweet was sleeping on the couch of Nova. In the middle of the night, he was having night terrors and feeling as if he was being beat because he was beat in jail. And nobody helped him. He said the guards sat there and watched them jump me. When you're supposed to be in a safe space, when you're supposed to have people that are paid to make sure that you're safe and they're just watching you get your whooped. I don't know what goes on in those prison walls. I don't know what happens while you're in jail. I don't know what happens when you're in limbo. That's not something I'm familiar with, but I do want to allow this space for those that are familiar, for those that have been in that predicament, for those that have those stories. I would like for you to share your story, for you to speak to those that are currently listening. Shout out to the headphone crew. Shout out to all those that are listening in Concord. Shout out to those that are listening at South Bay. Shout out to those that are listening with their headphones on. That's why they're the headphone crew. Thank you. Thank you. I can't tell you how many of your cousins hit me up like, Tayla, my cousin da-da-da said. So if you try to get a message to me, trust and believe, I got it. I got it. To those that are currently incarcerated, I got it. How many men and women come out of the prison industrial complex with post-traumatic stress? I was thinking of my Dr. Joy DeGruy, post-traumatic slave syndrome. Melissa Gray said, how many went in with it? Sharon Hinton said, all of them. Lysandra Soto said, for far too many, especially the ones untreated for it. Corey said exactly. There is a messed up and corrupt pattern that can and will cause ex-cons to commit more crimes again and end up right back in jail. Shaking my head, the system of ours is so badly messed up that it's not even funny. I'm so disgusted with this already, and this dumb Trump in office is just making matters worse, a lot worse, and much faster. I'm so mad. They seriously need to impeach him because he is way too dangerous. Britt Johnson said, no one is helping with that or enlightening them on how to address it. Devlon said the main reason majority of them go back can't cope or function normal anymore, no counseling before they're even released. Dexter, shout out to Dexter. Dexter said all of them, how many men and women go to come out of jail or come out of incarceration with post-traumatic stress disorder. And Devlon said, I did 18 years in the feds. Animals in zoos get treated better than black men in prison. Never been, but friends and family have told me stories. I still don't want to believe someone could do that to a human being. Paula Kelly said they went in with it, and that's why they need to change the systems, because they're not built for all that, built for all and broken the many. We must disrupt and dismantle current systems and rebuild them for all, starting with education system and stop the school to prison pipeline. Schools must provide equality and equitable hashtag all means all, and that's the C-Plan hashtag of all children should be educated across the board. I recently learned in Cuba, it doesn't matter if you're rich, if you're poor, if you're black, if you're white, if you're, ugly, if you're pretty, it matters not. There is nothing that will stop you from getting the highest level of education or the highest level of healthcare in Cuba. Granted, it's Cuba, but the highest level of education. Everyone, always, across the board, hashtag all means all. I want to go into some of these statistics as far as incarcerated persons are concerned, and I want to give a huge shout out because I once called them inmates. They're inmates. But we had a formerly incarcerated, beautiful soul in here who spoke on why she is always fighting for those that are currently incarcerated. I want to give a huge shout out to Jeremy over at the Haley House. He was formerly incarcerated, apparently reformed, came out, and not only changed his life, but is changing the lives of many men and women out here. I wish I had the funds to give to Jeremy so he could actually rehabilitate a lot of these people. And I think the experts, Andrea James spoke about the experts are not the people with the degrees. The experts are the ones that have been behind those bars, have been the goats and have been the horses and have been the cattle that have been herded by the prison industrial complex. Mass incarceration, the whole pie. The United States has 1.4 million in prison, and most people in the state and federal prisons locked up are for drug offenses. And this is very frustrating when you look at the bigger picture when it comes to rape. a rapist can get less time than a drug dealer. A rapist. There are two young women in the news right now that are looking at 33 years in prison for stealing Trump signs. They're calling it a hate crime. They could receive 33 years each. There's sex offenders that didn't do 33 years. The American criminal justice system holds more than 2.3 million people in 1,719 state prisons, 102 federal prisons, 942 juvenile correctional facilities. I wish I could cuss because that one made me mad. 942 juvenile correctional facilities, 3,283 local jails, 79 dyslexia is real, 79 Indian country jails, as well as military prisons, immigration detention facilities, civil commitment centers, and prisons in the U.S. territory. The deeper we look, the blacker they are. How many people are locked up in the United States? The United States locks up more people per capita than any other country, any other nation. We're grappling with why. We ain't grappling with ish. We are not. We know why. We know what the numbers are. We know what they're doing. We know why this is important. I think I read a story. Let me see if I can find it so I can read it verbatim. There was a story that I read about a good 6 months ago, and they were talking about if they don't send prisoners back, we will have to close the jails. We will have to close the jails. They said it like damn near verbatim. Oh, God. I'm going to find it. I want to get through these statistics. I'll play a song, and I'll find it for you, because I want you to understand, like, from that article, it was somewhere under the Mason-Dixon line, and they were like, listen, if they don't send us our inmates, we got to close the jails. They need to send us our inmates back. And it was said just like verbatim, quotation marks. If they don't send back inmates, we won't make any money. Not if we don't diminish crime. Not if we don't stop the rapists. If they don't bring us back our prisoners, we'll have to close the jails. And it was a politician. Let's go back to these statistics really quickly. Local jails. Right now, there are 646,000 people in local jails. Out of that 646,000, 451 are currently not convicted. What does that mean? It means that they are limbo in the system. They are waiting for the system to try them, to convict them. There are 451,000 out of 646,000 that are just in limbo right now. That don't know if they can go on and move on with the rest of their lives, that don't know if they're going back to jail, or maybe some of them are at Rikers Island, can't afford to pay bail, so they have to stay in jail. Out of those 451,000 non-convicted, 142,000 are violent. 112,000 are property related. 115,000 are drug related. 79,000 is public order. And another 2,000 is like various other crimes. Not sure what public order is. Nahami, if you could call me and kind of fill me in. Can you fill me in? Okay, so as far as youth is concerned, they have 34,000 youth currently being held in youth facilities. In federal prisons, there's 211,000 individuals, and out of those 211,000 in federal prison, 105,000 are currently in federal penitentiaries for drug-related crimes. 211 people in federal prison, and more than half are in there for drug-related crimes. 19,000 are there for immigration reasons, 33,000 because of weapons. Other public orders fill up 23,000. Violent offenders in federal prison are 15,000. Property-related federal inmates are 13,000. As far as immigration detention centers, there are 33,000 individuals, and this is old. This is a report from 2014. So this is an old report. These numbers are old. Since we have a new administration that's trying to lock everybody up that looks black or brown, or deport everybody that, already had people in this country before this country was discovered. 33,000 people are currently in immigration detention centers. 14,000 are terroristic type prisoners. Out of state prisons. So we did local jails. Those are holding facilities. We did youth, 34,000. And I'm lying. Is this? Okay, so let me go back really quickly. Let me go back. So out of this youth, 1,400 are military. Indian country, 2,400. Civil commitment, 5,500. And I want to completely understand civil commitment. Like, is that debtor's court? Were they supposed to pay something and didn't pay something and ended up having to go to jail for it? What is a civil commitment? Nahemi, where are you? Commitment in jail. What does that mean? We learned in one together, baby. So apparently it is like a debtor's court type thing. And didn't we abolish debtor's court? Like once upon a time when we used to keep people in the square, in the, what are them things called, where you have your head and your arms shackled in and you're underneath the board? I forgot what it's called. I learned it in like 3rd grade. Forgot what the damn name of it. But, and it would say like, here lies the woman who didn't pay for bread. You had to pay. That was your form of payment. Being completely embarrassed in front of the whole town. Out of these state prison, there is 1,351,000. For that, driving under the influence, 26,000. These are public orders. Public orders are 149,000. Driving under the influence, I guess that could be alcohol, that could be weed, that could be anything. Driving under the influence, 26,000. Other public orders, 71,000. Weapons, 2,000. Drug possession, 48,000. Other drugs. What does that mean? If drug possession is 48,000, what do other drugs mean? Intend to distribute, intend to use. 212,000. 212,000 men and women are currently in state prisons for having drugs. But we got a whole bunch of damn zombies at Boston Medical Center right now. As far as property is concerned, 261,000, 28,000 of that 261,000 are there for fraud. 142,000 are there for burglary. 1,000 are there for theft. 11,000 car theft. Pause. You guys remember that show, Car Bait or something like that? Wasn't that always entrapment? How was that legal that they could make a show about leaving a car unlocked? And whoever get in it, start driving it, they get to lock them in, shut it down, then lock them up. How is that not a form of entrapment? One of my favorite episodes of Bait Car is when the whole hood came out. And they started playing music. They opened the trunk. They opened all the doors. They played like, yo, put this CD in. Yo, put my boy's new CD in. And they were just playing music. They tried to rip out the speakers. They were like, yo, what's this? And it was the box that locked up the car, stopped the vehicle, had all the cameras. They broke into that, broke everything down. People were stealing tires, the rims. How is that not entrapment? Car theft, $11,000. Other property, $29,000. Violent offenders make up $718,000 out of state prisons. Assault is $135,000. Robbery, $185,000. Rape and sexual assault, $169,000. Manslaughter, $18,000. Murder, $169,000. 617-282-0062. We're talking Motivational Monday to those that are currently incarcerated, those that are behind bars, those that may or may not have committed a crime, those that may or may not be serving time that is, limited time frame, not limited, mandatory minimums, but have been in jail for so long. They should have been done their time, been out and been able to have families and work lives and not working under Victoria's Secret to sell panties and bras, to make furniture, to make other clothing garments, to make cell phones, to make license plates, to be paid 48 cents a day. 617-282-0062. Good rising, calling you live. Thank you for your patience.
Good morning, Tayla.
Good rising. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I appreciate the conversation today. I really like the subject. I wanted to answer a couple of the questions you were asking. The thing that you put out there and locked the people up, that's called the stock.
Oh, the
out
stock.
There in Town Square.
Thank you for that. Thank you.
And the order, I think that has to do with, like, if you're arrested for causing, like, a disturbance, like disturbing the peace, disorderly conduct, anything like that. Just answer those couple questions. But I feel like I've been in the system for a while. I was just kind of caught in that cycle when I was younger. Now I'm almost 40, and I've been out of that nonsense for the last 10 years. But it was a good almost like 15, 20 years that I was in and out. And it's really clear that the system is just set up to be, like the new slavery. It's like we just want to keep these blacks and poor people in here as a revenue generator. And, like you mentioned that one person from down south had said, we need them back. There's countless COs, correctional officers, that would tell me or other people when we were leaving, come on back. You're my job security. I got to send a couple kids through college. I need you to come on back in here. And I know it won't be long. I'll be seeing you soon. They count on you to fail. And if you think, like, when they put out the Corys, that's right around the same time that they started taking away the educational programs and all of the different things that you can actually use to get ahead, so that when you get out of your life, you've got reintegration training to get back into society and so forth. It's awfully coincidental that as Corey background checks came out, which essentially locked people in that state of criminality. I mean, you're supposed to serve your debt to society and then go on free and clear to continue living a normal life again. When you have that Corey over your head, it's like keeping you in the cage the whole time. You can never get away from the jail. You can't get any type of good paying job, which is a situation I'm dealing with right now. So people, especially who've been used to living fast and free and getting money easily, to try to sit here and make $10 or something an hour for busting their behind, it's just you can't really get by on that. And one thing that I saw that always illustrated to me how corrupt the whole system is, what other industry do the people who work there, the people who are inmates, we get money from the state to feed them. Yet they get fed slop, while the COs get a whole separate diet cooked for them. But that's steak tips and you know, all types of delicious, wonderful food, shrimp, all types of great stuff for the COs who are at work. Why are we spending tax money to cook lunch for people who are at work every day? It just is an illustration to me of how corrupt the whole system is and how it's not there for us. It's there as like a perk for the people who get to work there.
Thank you. 617-282-0062. Is there anything else you want to add?
That's it, Tayla. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much. So I was 135% listening. I was also trying to look up this article that I recently reposted because it was something that I posted, and you know how they remind you, like, oh, this is what you posted last year. I'm really looking for this article with, like, they said it, they stated it verbatim. If they don't send us back prisoners, we gonna have to close the jail. Like, we need prisoners. If they don't send them to us, we won't have money. So I'm gonna continue to look for this because I want to read it verbatim from the horse's mouth. I don't want you to take my word for it. Don't even, if I'm unable to find it in the next 20 minutes, then please do your due diligence. I will find it. I will repost it. What are we supposed to do when the system is looking for you? Like, come back. Come back. I need a job. Come back. What is it, $23,000 per inmate? And I know that's an old number because I remember that was like a 2013 number. 617-282-0062. What do you want to say to those that are currently incarcerated? What do you want to say to those that just been recently released from incarceration and is learning how to use a cell phone? Is learning that, you know, right now they have great credit. They've been in jail for so long, everything's off their credit. What do you want to say to those that can't get a job, that are Corey unfriendly? What do you want to say to those that made mistakes as a youth, but yet are coming out being labeled as an adult? When you do something when you're 17 years old and then you're 33, you're like, damn, that was a really dumb decision, but I don't think I should have paid with my whole life. Good rising, caller, you're live.
Good rising, Tayla. How you doing?
Super fantastic. How are you?
Good. Well, what I think is the system is all about politics. When I mean politics, I got a friend of mine, brother, his young brother. He's in and out in prison, in and out. Like his parents refinanced, took money out of the house, fell him out, and then about 2 or 3 weeks, that he got caught doing something stupid, and they put him right back in. I think some of those reasons is our fault as well, because if you go to prison, right, you see how hard it is. Like you know, they're beating you up, they're treating you like crap, they're giving you crap food to eat. Why the hell are you gonna get out and go do the same thing? I don't get that part. You know, they don't just lock me and you and put us inside the prison. We have to do something for us to get locked up. You understand what I'm trying to say?
I do, but there is an entire population of black men that cringe every single time they see a police car. And it's not because they did something wrong, but it's because they're demonized. So we might have it easy here in Boston because our commissioner, nor does our mayor, nor does the police department want the problems that have been had in other states. But we have to acknowledge the fact, we have to acknowledge our privilege here in the state of Massachusetts.
The best place to live. I tell all my people that. You move out of state, good luck with police brutalities and all that. But we got to get to a point that, let me finish a little story about my best friend. Now they deport himself. Now he's in third world country. He's like missed everything that he had in Boston. So to tell you the truth is, some of us the system is using your own stupidity to gain off of you. Like the guy earlier, the gentleman said, the CEOs will say, thank you, welcome back. I know within 2-3 weeks you're going to come back. It's like, by him saying that, putting this type of curse into your life, you should say, okay, enough is enough. This is my last time doing stupid stuff in the street. I'm going to find a 9 to 5 and work. A lot of people, my final thing to say, people want to just get a job for $50 an hour. No, you got to start first from the first level, then you climb yourself up. That's like seeing you, Tayla, with 2-3 house, but people don't know how much hard, you work 2-3 jobs for your entire life, but they want to see the outcome. They just want to get the outcome instead of, climbing up the ladder. My people, please do it easy. Go to school or go to work, find a 9 to 5, and get out of the street. That's what I have to say, Tayla. Have a good one.
Big City 101.3 FM, Waking Up with TaylaAndre, Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. to 7. If you agree, 617-282-0062. If you disagree, 617-282-0062. I do understand that, I have black men in my family. I have black men that are adults. I have black men that are youth. I have black men that are scared to death of the police. I have black men that don't give a about the police because they have their gun license. They are working men, but they still have been pulled over and profiled. I have a cousin that was driving my car, and I don't know how my car, my license pops up on my registration. I don't know how that works. I don't know what that looks like inside of a police car, but he was driving my car, and he was pulled over. I've never been pulled over in my car, but yet he was pulled over in the car for not speeding, not like he wasn't doing anything wrong, just pulled over. And they let him go, talking about your cousin's fine, right? He was like, Tayla, if it wasn't for you, I could be in jail right now. I was like, what did you do? He said, not a damn thing. I do understand that there's a population of men that cannot relate to the last caller. I understand that there's a population of men that do not trust the police, will not have a conversation with the police, and it doesn't mean that they did something wrong. It was just their experiences and what they've seen in the neighborhood. They don't see police officers that look like them, police officers that care for them, police officers that talk to them with respect in an everyday setting, let alone when you're trying to lock me up. When I'm related to somebody that apparently is part of your gang or your drug chain, and you want to pull me over asking me how I know this person, why I know that person, why me and this person talk, why are you in my business? I didn't do anything wrong. What are those field stops? Field stops trying to see how you relate to the rest of the gang, how you relate to the rest of the drug chain. I think in Boston, at least, I think we should adopt best practices of other cities, because when 90% of shooters don't get caught, when murders are never solved, but yet we have all of this stop and frisk by another name, something isn't being handled properly. I don't know what the answer is, Sway. I'm just saying maybe we want to start looking at alternative methods. 617-282-0062. Good Rising Caller, you're live.
Is it me, Tayla?
It's you, baby. How are you?
I'm back again. I love calling into your show. I love the things you talk about. But I wanted to address the caller who just spoke. I understand where he's coming from, and I can tell from the things he said that, like, he may have seen other people going through stuff, but he doesn't know from personal experience, and that's why he feels that way. And I want to redirect for people who do feel that way, that the whole problem with this is that it starts off with an inequality in the schools, because you go out. I was bussed out to Metco schools. I lived in Watertown. Many times I was the only black person in the building. So I know what white schools are like, and the way that kids are treated, the way that they're taught, the way they're raised to feel that they're special, that they can accomplish anything, the different level of education education that they get over in those schools. And then I also went to Boston Public Schools. So I literally in myself saw the stark contrast between what somebody out in Watertown and Belmont and Needham and Dover and Sherborne. I went to those schools, so I know what those kids learned and how. I mean, you go to the library and you get apple slices dipped in cinnamon and sugar while the librarian reads you stories. And then the next year, I'm in Boston Public Schools, and, you know, the teacher was afraid to even discipline the kids. You know, we would take the girls in the closet and play, you know, hide and go get it, you know, and, as opposed to learning. So, you know, people would be in the back of the class, we're watching a movie instead of learning, and people's in the back of the class doing Lord knows what, getting pregnant and whatnot, because nobody cared to put them on the right track. A lot of the times the bad kids are searching for discipline. They want limits, they want boundaries, but they're going to, as a natural rebellion of youth, they're going to try to push and see where those boundaries lie. And when you just let them push and push and push those boundaries, then they feel like, well, I can go this far. Whereas not only do the white kids have, you know, certain boundaries, but they're shown how following this path will give you a great life. And they see examples all around them of people who are living well, who have great, beautiful homes and cars and horses. And I mean, I would go and sleep at my friends' houses that had horses and then come back to live in the city. You know, when you start off already with that huge of a discrepancy between how people grow up, then you start to understand why you have black men out here that don't know how to get a job. You say, why don't you go out and just start at the bottom floor and work your way up? When you don't know how to interview, when you go in to speak to a manager like, yo, what's up, dog? I want this job. You don't have the same prospects to even moving forward. You know, people look at you and your manager is clutching their wallet because they're looking at you like you're about to steal something. You don't have the social skills to deal on that level, because you also have to understand every culture is different. When you go to job culture, that's white culture. Black people deal with black culture. Spanish people have a whole different culture. Look at Asians, look at Indians. Every different culture acts differently among themselves. When you go to jobs, you have to be in that white culture mind frame. And if you've never been put in that mindset because you didn't grow up in that type of environment, you don't know how to speak to people in that environment. You don't know how to integrate into a work environment where they're yelling at you because you're 2.5 minutes late. Like, yo, get off my back. You know what I've been through this morning? Like, to get here on the bus, your manager's not trying to hear that, but you don't have those skills to know how to be professional. And, you know, and then so when you go in there and you finally find a way to make some money, which was the crime that you was committing, whether it was stealing something, selling drugs, doing whatever you was doing, that you finally found a way to get by, then they lock you up for it. They give you no treatment. They give you no training. They don't give you a GED. They don't show you how to take an interview. They don't do any of these things to get you back on the right path. Then when you get out that door, even though you say, you know, I'm approved to you, see, I'm not coming back. I don't ever want to see you again.
They make
you don't
it
have
so
the skill
hard
set to stay out of jail. You may think, okay, I'm going to do it right, but you get out there and you get hungry and nobody's giving you a shot. What are you left with to do? And that's why we end up back there. So I just want people to understand it's not just all about people being stupid and people not caring about their future. It's that we don't give people the tools that they need. And that's what I love about your show, Tayla, is that you're not about just talking about problems, that you be out here giving people the tools, telling them how to get stuff on the right track. And with that, I'm going to let you take it away.
Thank you. Because you spoke on things that I can't speak about. You've experienced things that I know nothing of. And I wanted everyone and anyone to give a call in today. If you have something that you want to say to a current incarcerated person, if you want to give some advice to somebody who is currently coming out of incarceration and trying to understand, like they've been in jail for the last 15 years. When you come out, the last time they had a phone, you could play Snake on it. Now all of a sudden you could FaceTime, you could do this. Like everything is foreign to them. Everything is foreign to them. The computers are foreign. How do you receive a job? How do you obtain a job if you went to jail, received no training, You went in at 17, 18 years old, 21 years old, and you're coming out at 30, 40 years old. You have no kids, you have no boo, you have no support system. Your mama can't take care of you, she on SSI. The rest of your family trying to do what they're trying to make their own end meet. I can't speak to this, but somebody can. And if you can, 617-282-0062, speak to these men, speak to these women, let them know that there is support out here. There is help out here for them. I have a cousin who tells his story all the time. Shout out to Fat Cat Kamal. Shout out to Joint Venture. Shout out to those who know Cat from old College Bound. He ain't there anymore, but he's still changing lives, getting people on the right path, bringing them back to their purpose in life. I never understood why, when it comes to these at-risk youths, why there are stipulations that systems have that men and women that were previously incarcerated can't have those one-on-one with children. I never understood that. If you have a child, well, I do understand the school to prison pipeline is a real thing, and we want you to go to jail. So why would we give some type of intervention and have you around somebody who's going to take you out of jail or keep you out of jail or set your mind and yourself on the right track? No. We want you in the prison system. We need your money. And I actually found that for the caller, please hold really quickly. Mississippi jails are losing inmates and local officials are devastated by the loss of revenue. Again, I want to read this one more time. Mississippi jails are losing inmates and local officials, in quotation marks, my babies, are devastated by the loss of revenue. Not devastated at the fact that crime has lowered. Not devastated at the fact that drug dealers are not out there selling drugs. Not devastated at the fact that we have won the war on crime. Not devastated because of that, but devastated by the loss of revenue. County officials across Mississippi are warning of job losses and deep deficits as local jails are being deprived. Do you hear the language that is being used? Like on purpose. I want you guys to understand what I'm saying, on purpose. Local jails are being deprived of the state's inmates that they need to keep them afloat. If they do not send us our inmates back, we can't make it, said one county supervisor. If they don't, they're not yours. They are not dogs. They're not your pets. If they do not send us our inmates back, we can't make it. How do you send back inmates? I'll wait. You trump up charges on people that are innocent. You say that they assaulted an officer when they look at you the wrong way and you didn't like the way they were talking to you. In the late 1990s, as overcrowded and Mississippi prison systems buckled under the weight of mass incarceration, the state asked local governments to build local correctional institutions to house state prisoners. It was billed as a win-win. The Mississippi Department of Correction would foot the bill for each prisoner, and the counties would get good jobs guarding them. The state guaranteed that the local jails would never be less than 80% occupied. The local jails would never be less than 80% occupied. Do you guys remember the story I read over a year ago where they said the state prisons made a deal with the state and they were actually suing, I believe it was the state of California, was being sued by the prison system because they were promised in their contract no less than 80% occupancy. And because they were at 60-something occupancy, they were losing money. They were suing the state because we don't have enough inmates. This is life for so many of our brothers and sisters. I'll go ahead and share this story. There's more to it. I really wanted to get to the Mississippi jails are losing inmates and local officials are devastated by the loss of revenue. If they do not send us our inmates back, we can't make it. What do you want to say to those that are currently incarcerated? What do you want to say to those that are coming out of incarceration? What do you want to say to those that are at-risk youth that have been failed in our public education system and see no other solution other than the ways of the streets? Good rising, caller, you're live.
Good morning, how are you?
I'm super fantastic, how are you?
I'm great. So I just want to touch on a few things. You said a lot, and I want to say thank you for saying those things because the brothers and the sisters need to hear that. I did a lot of time right here in Boston, Massachusetts, and when I came out of jail, you said one thing that touched on, I was in an elevator, and I started hearing all these different sounds, so I asked the lady, I said, what is this bee sound? And she said, you never heard that before? I said, no. She said, what is it? She said, it's a cell phone. And I was like, oh, shit. You know, excuse my language. I was like, oh, my goodness. I've been there that long that I haven't known that they have these things out here. But what I want to say is they're using us as we walk out the door, when we come out of jail, when we come out of our house, wherever we come from, they have a target on our back. We are their target. We are their commodity for saying, if they don't get us in jail, they don't have jobs. I agree with you 100%. But we have to come together as black men and women. Like a week ago, they had the 5 kids down in, I believe it was Chicago, the cops with the guns. 5 young youth. See, and no men are standing up. If the men don't stand up, then the kids are going to fail. So we have to come together as men. And like in the 60s and the 70s, rural land was all black-owned businesses. I don't know what happened, but we have to come together, and I appreciate exactly what you're saying, and thank you for everything that you said. And I'm going to do my part, but I want to say to the brothers that are coming out of jail, there are people waiting for you. Your family's waiting for you, and they want to see you do the right thing. I've done the right thing. I own my own business. I pass things on. I pay things forward, because I'm a man. You have to stand up as a man and teach the kids the right way to go. Because if you don't, they got somebody behind that wall that's waiting for them. And that's all I have to say.
And that was a mouthful, baby. I thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. Good rising, caller. You're live.
Good rising.
Good rising. Shut your radio off for me, baby.
Okay, yes. To those incarcerated that will be coming home soon, I say to you, the Nation of Islam is waiting to embrace you with open arms. Accept your own and be yourself. We're building industry and infrastructure for you. There are numerous entrepreneurs that can provide work for you, where you don't have to work for that slave master. There's on page 161 of Message to the Black Man, there's a solution that says that we have to separate into a state or territory of our own, and that's not some far-fetched idea. We're building this reality. We have farmland, we have industry, we have everything that we need to supply the needs of our people, and we're continuing to build it, and we need your help and your skills to build it. So we have a place for you. You don't need to run back to the same oppressor to beg him for sustenance. Come and see us. Find the Muhammad's Mosque in your town when you return home, and we will embrace you and put you to work.
And for those that are listening, the mosque number 11 in Grove Hall has fruit. Talk about what is it? Fruits every weekend, as well as food, produce that you can order once a month.
Free farm fresh produce, non-GMOs. We have the ABLE program where you can order food that is from us, from your people. The orange juice from our Native American family is so delicious. And all of this stuff, you can trust it because our inspectors are more stringent than the USDA. And you won't be eating any of those chemicals that flip your hormones.
So, Takwa, do me a favor. Post another post because I did get your post about my name's not Corey. please post another post so people who want to, hey, Sebastian Cole, peace and blessings, love. For those that do want to order food from the Nation of Islam, no pesticides, no genetically modified, please, that was amazing, wasn't it? Love motorcycle season. Please go ahead and post that on my page, TaylaAndre, for those who do not know. Sebastian Cole, I have to tell you actually, Sebastian, that your Toy Soldiers has been playing in my head for the entire weekend. So just so you know, love the album. Shout out to Soup. Sebastian Cole is on the Facebook Live right now. If you have not heard our interview together, it's absolutely amazing. And I'll go ahead and repost that today. As really quickly, I want to drop these statistics. For those that are just now tuning in, Big City 101.3 FM, Waking Up with TaylaAndre. We are giving life and Motivational Monday to those that are currently incarcerated. Those that are doing time that they may or may not have committed, those that have mandatory minimums. Now, I'm not talking to the rapist. I'm not talking to the murderer. I'm not talking to the accident murderer. I'm not talking to those that are in jail serving the time in which they should be serving. I'm speaking to those that, believe and know in their heart that they are not doing the time that they should be doing, that they are doing a mandatory minimum over something that they should have gotten community service over, those that should not be in jail at all, should have had a slap on the wrist, those whose lives are being destroyed. I'm talking to you, baby. I'm talking to you. Really quickly, the United States has 5% of the world's population, but 25% of the world's prisoners. The total incarcerated population in the U.S. is staggering. We gave this number earlier at $2.4 million. That is a 500% increase over the past 30 years. 1 in every 108 adults was in prison or jail in 2012. 1 in 28 American children has a parent behind bars. So this is a conversation for another day, because we have to pay respect to those children that have parents behind jail. And I went and visited 2 people in jail my whole entire life. Both times I felt sexually violated, and both times I could not hug that person that was my family member. We couldn't touch, we couldn't hug, there couldn't be embrace at all, and we are social creatures. We're mammals, for crying out loud. We are funny, we're friendly, we're touchy, we're feely, we want to hug and kiss and love, and they put you behind bars and treat you like an animal with no emotions. 1 in 28 American children has a parent behind bars. At the end of 2007, 1 in 31 adults was behind bars, on probation, or on parole. Currently, 65 million Americans have a criminal record. 65 million Americans currently have a criminal record. There are more people behind bars today for drug offenses than they were in 1980 for all offenses. The United States of America spent $80 billion on incarceration in 2010 alone. About as many people were returned to prison just for parole violations in 2000 as were admitted in 1980 for all combined reasons. Really quickly, I want to reread that. About as many people, so it is equal, the amount of people currently in prison, or those that went back to prison in 2000 for parole violations, were equal to the 1980 total of everyone in prison. Everyone in prison. That is the current number of those that are in prison for parole violations. Parole violators account for more than 35% of all prison admissions in 2000. Of those, only 1/3 were returned for new convictions. So 1 out of every 3 actually returned for new conviction. The rest of them were returned for a technical violation, such as missing a meeting with a parole officer. Are you listening to me? Our men and women are being reincarcerated for missing a parole meeting, for technical violations. 1 in 3 actually had a new crime. The others, technical violations. A first-time drug offense carries a sentence of 5 to 10 years minimum. In other developed countries, that sentence would be 6 months jail time, if any. The vast majority of those arrested with a drug offense are not charged with serious offenses. For example, in 2005, 4 out of 5 drug arrests were for possessions, not sales. Not sales. 4 out of 5 in 2005 were strictly possession. In the 1990s, marijuana possession accounted for nearly 80% of the spike in arrest. 80%. 3 out of 4 young black men in Washington, D.C. can expect to serve time behind bars. This is despite the fact that people of all races use and sell drugs at the same rate. 3 out of 4 young black men in Washington, D.C. can expect to serve time behind bars, even though we all do drugs, even though we all have sold drugs. And I mean all as far as race is concerned, sex is concerned, age is concerned. Conservative estimations put innocent people who plead guilty between 2 and 5%, which translates to tens of thousands of innocent people behind bars today. More than 96% of convictions in the federal system result from guilty pleas rather than decisions by juries. So people who just can't take it anymore, who can't pay bail, who are in Rikers Island waiting for their trial date, who can't leave because they can't pay the bail, just end up copping out and taking a plea because I just want to get out of here. That's 2 to 5% of those that are currently incarcerated. That translates to tens of thousands of innocent people behind bars right now. 80% of defendants cannot afford a lawyer. Tens of thousands of people go to jail every year without ever talking to a lawyer before going to trial. A public defender will routinely have a caseload of more than 100 clients at one time. I call them public pretenders because they pretend to know who you are. They pretend to know about your case. They pretend to try and help you. But the truth of the matter is they are not able to. They're not equipped to. They don't have the time, the money, or the resources to give you their all. And in October of 2013, the incarceration rate of the United States of America was the highest in the world at 716% higher than the rest of the world. We have 4.4% of the world's population in the United States, but we incarcerate 22% of the world. An estimated 73% of females in state prisons compared to 55% of male inmates had mental health problems. In federal prisons, the rate was 61% of females compared to 44% of males. In local jails, 75% of females compared to 63% of males. Current incarcerated persons with mental health issues. To the entire headphone crew, I want you to know that I love you. I appreciate you. Takwa said, don't let your time do you, you do your time. You fill that time up with learning and reading and educating yourself. What is it, 10,000 hours? It takes 10,000 hours to get to that mastery. You have 10,000 hours. What books are you reading? How are you educating yourself? When you come out, I want you to come out with a damn degree, not on paper, but in your head. This is my personal belief, many of those that are incarcerated are geniuses when it comes to business. When it comes to be able to maneuver through systems, to the gang members that put together an entire gang, was able to have a business plan. They had They had a president. They had a treasurer. They had foot soldiers. Like, that is an organization. Do you know what type of organizational skills that is? Do you know that you could come out into the society and open a 501(c)(3) and know how to work that better than anybody with a business degree? Use the skills that you had on the streets and figure out how you can make them legal and work the system, baby. Work the system the best you know how. Take those skills of leadership. Take those sales. If you were out there selling drugs, if you take those skills and transfer them to make you legal money. Like Alex say, let's just be legal crooks. I didn't realize what time it was. Let me get up out of here. Because y'all know I can stand on soapboxes forever. Today we have an event, not we, but Elegant Living would like to invite you Monday, April 24th, 2017 from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. at the South End Tech Center at dyslexia is real, at 359 Columbus Ave in Boston. One of the things that I love about Elegant Living Directory, it's like WeBuyBlack.com for Boston. And I know Jamal Crawford has something similar, but the Elegant Living Directory also helps focus businesses with their marketing, with their advertising, with their branding strategies. So what does Starbucks, McDonald's, Best Buy, CVS all have in common? A strong online presence in marketing. So Elegant Living Directory not only puts you in the directory to be a part of the small businesses here in Boston and surrounding cities, but they also help you with your presentations, with your workshops, with marketing, with advertising, with branding. So if this is something that your business needs, not just advertising, but, actually branding yourself, branding your business so that when people see those golden arches, they know exactly who you are. Again, that is today from 6 to 7:30 p.m. South End Tech Center at 359 Columbus Ave, Boston, Mass. ElegantLivingDirectory.com. Go there and so you can check out all of the local businesses, the minority. We the majority, baby. The majority-owned business directory here in Boston and surrounding cities. Also, do not forget that Build BPS. This is tomorrow, okay? I need y'all to come out. I don't care if you like Superintendent Chang. I don't care if you dislike Superintendent Chang. If you have a child in a BPS school, if you have a child in the school system at all, Build BPS invites you to the future of our schools, a conversation with Superintendent Dr. Tommy Chang. Come out and tell him how you feel. Come out and tell him what you think. Come out and tell him what you like, what you love, what you hate, what you need as far as services are concerned regarding Boston Public Schools. Now is the time. Don't sit here and call 617-282-0062 and complain. We need to go straight to the source. He get paid $315,000 of your tax-paying dollars. $315,000 Superintendent Tommy Chang gets paid. I'm going to need for you to come out and get all your money's worth. Whatever questions, whatever concerns, anything that you have regarding Boston Public School. Again, this is going to be at 1 Worrell Street. This is Tuesday, 5:30 to 8:30. I don't care if you show up at 8:25. If you got something to say about your baby's education, come out. Reporter Frank Holland of NBC and NECN will be there. This is a conversation about Build BPS, the master plan with free food and beverage. So come out, get some free food, get some free drinks, and talk your head off as far as Superintendent Tommy Chang is concerned. Tell him how you really feel. And do not forget on May 20th, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., the Go Fund Yourself, Prevent Begging from Being a Part of Your Legacy, Estate Planning, Wills and Trust, Guardianship, avoiding probate issues, life insurance, paying funeral expenses, final wishes and burial options, healthcare proxies. This is absolutely free. Shout out to Prestige Cuisine. They're going to be feeding us on May 20th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. We'll be at the Urban League of Eastern Massachusetts. There is parking on the street. There is parking behind the building. Food will be served. Your belly will be full for breakfast. Your belly will be full for lunch. If you're interested in buying a house, call me, 617-459-0041. If you have a home that you want to sell, 617-459-0041. If you trust Alex more than you trust me, I'll go ahead and post his number online. And he'll be here tomorrow for Real Estate Tip Tuesday. I thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. It's in my heart to say, if you have a child that is fascinated by guns, talks about guns all the time, have that baby over the age of 8. Have that baby meet Firearm Fred. 617-293-1011. The more you try and keep things from your kids, the more they're going to gravitate and go find it by themselves. Show that baby what a firearm does and why it can be dangerous. Call Firearm Fred, 617-293-1011. It's a great date night if you want to do something on the weekends or do a date night. It's amazing. You'll love it. I love shooting AK-47s. 617-293-1011. Call Firearm Fred. He got them AKs. He got all type of big guns. You can pat. I like guns in safe spaces. I do. I'm a Second Amendment sister. I have the right to bear arms. And I practice regularly. Get your firearm license. Do you, baby. Do you. But do it safe. Shout out to my love, my Faith's Naturals, from hair to skin to lotions to oils to smell goods to body sprays to yoni steams to pum washes. She has everything. Yoni eggs. Everything. Name it, she has it. She has an esthetician now. She has a massage therapist. She has a Reiki girl. Like, Faith is doing everything. She finna open another store. I speak it, Faith. I speak it. I am TaylaAndre. You're listening to TaylaAndre. Today was not 5 to 7. Today was a little after 7. But I do thank you for your time. I love you. I respect you. I appreciate every single last one of you. I hope you guys have an amazing Monday. The sun is out. It's Taurus season, so it's time to turn up. We are the best on the Zodiac. And if you think otherwise, call me. I love you guys. Have a wonderful day. I didn't realize what time it was. We went all the way over. Bend over, bend over, bend over. Back, yeah.